Okay. And this is, we're not rolling yet, I'll cut it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have a special surprise for you, and in my class I promised that Miss Lubas, the master teacher here, would come and show you her Mr. Soundman. Now, Miss Lubas is here to make sure that I stay under, what, 5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to do under 5 minutes. So I need to introduce her, and then we'll get to that. But first I need to introduce my shirt, which has to do with the theme, which is Make Your Own Light and Shine. Now, if you've not watched my Believe in Yourself video or my superhero video, please watch that. And also, my kids told me at school to like and subscribe my channel. I didn't even know anything. And turn your notifications on, whatever that means. They told me that. They know more about it than me. Exactly. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So, Miss Lubas, I worked in her classroom for a full year, and I was very lucky. I was an aide in the classroom. And what happened was I got to see a master teacher working. And I want to thank you for that, because you really were a big part of my success in this whole teaching game, and I consider myself successful because of you.
I think it's wonderful that you say that. I had no idea I was making that impact on you
well,
at the time.
You are.
But you saved my life that year.
See, so that's, in the videos that we were watching before, my whole thing about relationships is if you rise together, like we did. We rose together. We helped each other out, and we had some humility, too. I didn't go in there thinking I didn't know what I was doing. And you did, but you were so humble that you didn't make me feel like I was lost like I was. So you gave me a sense of support. I'm
glad I could do that. I had no idea you didn't know what you were doing, because
I play like I know what I'm doing. And if you've been in my class, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, Miss Lubas came into my class and we started talking, surprise, surprise. And she told me that she had this really interesting thing when she taught first grade, and it was called Mr. Soundman. Now, she's going to show it to you in a minute, and I'm going to hold it up to the camera because I have an opinion about it. I think Mr. Soundman's a little bit on the creepy side.
I know you told
But that's
me
an opinion, and we can't judge things by the way they look at first, and that's one of the things that I focus on. But go ahead and show Mr. Soundman and kind of tell us a little bit about where Mr. Soundman came about.
Okay. So, a long time ago, approximately 54 years ago, when I started teaching first grade, I purchased Mr. Soundman as part of my phonics and kind of my discipline program to engage first graders.
And that's the key point, to engage. That means to make a first impression, ladies and gentlemen, where you want to say something to someone, but you need their attention first. It's about attention getting. And that's what we're talking about right here. So what were you thinking about this puppet, I guess, whatever it is?
I can't imagine why you think he's creepy.
We'll
so
hold it up to the
anyway,
camera
the reason that I chose him is because my master teacher, who taught in the lab school at the university that I attended in Kansas, she used Mr. Soundman as a huge part of her phonics and reading program. And I was very, very insecure as a teacher.
We all are. Students out there, if you've ever had a teacher, listen, this is very important because you have two, well, she's a master and I'm working on it. She's my Yoda. I'm like, what, Luke Skywalker?
I guess.
Maybe? Luke Skywalker? Okay, that's kind of cool.
Okay.
I've always kind of, Han Solo would be even better. But let's not go there.
All right.
But no teacher that's ever worth anything. Well, I don't know. Most teachers are humble, and that means that they need to grow. Because have you ever done the same thing in a year? We always change.
Never.
I know. I always try to keep my things like, I'm going to do this next year, and I never end up doing it.
That's what I love
because we evolve as people, and that's why we're interesting people.
Right.
Okay, so you were trying to get the attention. Now, can you give us a demonstration? I'm going to be a first grade student.
Okay.
And I'm going to sit over here. Well, everyone checks out my shirt here. I got to move this out of the way. And I'm going to sit down on the carpet like your kids did. And just real quick, just humor me here. And humor me, trust me.
Mr. Soundman lived in a striped bag. And I found this in a box in my garage. Couldn't find the striped bag.
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened to that. And he would go out in the world and bring stories back to the children. And,
pearls.
And well, they really weren't. The sound we were focusing on that week would be found many times in many words in the story, the experience story that I would share with them.
So you were taking something that maybe wasn't so interesting and turning it into something more interesting.
Exactly.
Like how you meet people, and you may have something to say that's not so exciting, but if you get their attention, you could actually say something to someone that's not mind-blowing and actually get their attention in a good way.
Actually, you're right.
Ah.
So, anyway, so in the bag that he would come out of would be this story that would be posted, and we would talk about the story, and then the children would think about the sound, and then in the bag were things that were tangible items that had been represented in the story, and he would take them out and ask the children about them, and then they would find the sound in the story and circle it and go on from there. But the thing about Mr. Soundman, that is much like the magic wand that I use currently, he would never talk to the children. He could only talk to me, and he would whisper in my ear, and the only time he would whisper in my ear was when they were quiet.
So they couldn't hear what Mr. Soundman
No.
said until they listened to you.
Exactly.
Ah,
Yeah.
So what you were saying is if you want to listen to Mr. Soundman, you need to listen to me.
And you know, it was at the time when Mary Poppins was a movie that had just come out, and everything was just kind of very magical. And so I was
Mary
competing.
Poppins is good, kids. Watch Mary
Oh,
Poppins.
for sure.
Okay, go ahead.
And so I felt like I needed a hook that would help bring the kids in to something that maybe isn't all that interesting to a first grader.
You mean like
the
life?
sounds of letters?
Because life, I mean, when I'm talking to anybody, I'm usually talking about my life, which is interesting. I can make it interesting, but I'm not talking about the time that I got a movie role in some, but no, I didn't.
Okay.
But see, that would be interesting. I wouldn't need Mr.
It's right
Soundman
away.
to tell you that. Look at
me.
she's,
I
she's
can't wait to
drawn
hear about
into me,
this.
but I'm not telling the truth there. But if I were to tell you, let's say, for example, that you were a great teacher and you made a difference in my life. If I just walked up to you and said that, you might think that there was something, I don't know, it would be off. But if I made an introduction to myself, like we did in the classroom, I'm going to get back and sit next to you, and I say, like, Miss Lubas, here's my my teacher that I learned from, and then I can tell you that. Well, I've already introduced the topic appropriately. I didn't say, yo, Miss Lubas, what's going on? Because that's not the right way to address you.
And I might run.
You probably would. And you would have the right to do that. It's not the first time somebody's run away
that
from
wouldn't be you.
But here's the deal.
Okay.
How did Mr. Soundman fail you now? Because Mr. Soundman didn't always stay with you. So go
Oh,
ahead.
actually, right.
So where did Mr.
He
Soundman...
stayed with me in Littleton, Colorado.
Okay.
He worked in Littleton,
He's a
Colorado.
traveler. Nice.
He is. And then he moved to San Leandro. And he worked in San Leandro.
Okay.
And then he moved to Napa Junction in Napa.
So
And he worked...
Mr. Soundman met a lot of different people from a lot of different mounts of life.
For sure.
And in order for Mr. Soundman to know, you have to know.
And so did I meet lots of different
Well, you
people.
had to, because
That
Mr.
whole-
Soundman wouldn't know if you didn't know the people.
Exactly.
So Mr. Soundman got you out there in the real world to meet people.
For sure.
So kids, I'm going to talk to you, and parents or whoever watches this channel, if all 5 of you, this is what I'm talking about here, is when you're talking about life, okay, there's different dimensions of life. And what it comes down to is this. At home is where you kind of develop your perspective of life. It's kind of what you talk about because that is your life. School is not necessarily life. So if you're at home and you're playing video games and you're locked up in your castle doing what you want to do, I come to school and I want to talk to Mrs. Lubas because she's cool, and I go like this, yo, you know, like Fortnite, I played that, and like Fortnite, like I could do this, and I could do this and that. No, let me tell you about Fortnite. Do you want to hear about Fortnite?
Well, I guess.
Okay, see, I went about that the wrong way. Now let me do it the different way here.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take your needs and we're going to find a common ground here.
Okay.
And I'm going to use Fortnite, which I can't believe I'm using, but I am. Anyways, because we hear that all the time, don't we? But anyways, there's a point to it. So I just came at you this way. This is, I'm more important than you, and I'm going to talk to you about what I do, and I don't care what you think. I'm just going to talk at you, right? Here, let me do it the opposite way. Hey, Miss Lubas, how are you?
Great.
Are you doing good?
Yes, I am.
Yeah?
But
How's retirement?
it has its ups and downs.
Yeah,
I have to stay busy.
You doing anything to keep you busy?
Oh, yes.
Like what?
Well, I'm obsessed with genealogy. I can do it 24 hours a day. I love to play golf.
Oh,
I
golf.
knit.
I love to play golf too. Look,
And
I got a golf club. Where's my golf? Look at this. I got a golf club. So we could go play golf. Now, let me tell you something here that I don't know if you would. I just want to tell you something I'm interested in. Kind of interested in this game. And I know you're a little bit older than me, and I kind of value your opinion.
Okay.
It's a game. It's called Fortnite. I know. It's, I got to admit, it's like, probably I shouldn't be playing it and all that, but at the same time, it's it helps me kind of like I don't know, I like it. Now, are you more likely to listen to me talk about
yes,
Fortnite?
because I'm ready to
See,
ask
yeah,
you
you were
questions.
leaning in.
I want to ask you questions about.
Did you guys see her leaning in? I had a hard time saying I liked Fortnite, by the way. That was hard. Okay. That was hard. But I wanted to show you that you were willing to listen to me before.
Absolutely.
You were like, I was fishing with dynamite. And adults out there, you know what I'm talking about. Don't try so hard. And what it comes down to is this. You develop an interesting life at home, this is outside, or at work or school, which is basically if you go to work or you go to school, develop some interesting stories with real people here. You're going to have a lot to talk about. And you don't want to just be talking about the teacher all the time in the school, okay, students? Another one is the fact that you want to be respectful of people because I'm taking your time when we sit down. I'm taking your time right now. So I don't want to just sit down and, you know, Judy Lubas, I'm like this YouTube star that has like 4 fans and, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm going to be someone. You don't want to hear that.
I don't.
You don't want to hear that because that's not me including you in the conversation. Let me do it a different way. Judy, my YouTube channel is really important for me for spreading this message of positivity to the people that I love out there. And that means you. And that means you too. It's very important that I get in people that are important to me to show where I developed my love of people, and you're one of them.
Thank you.
Now, would that be better to hear than me talking about how I have 4 fans on YouTube? And thank you for subscribe and notify and do whatever you do, right? Yeah. So anyways, we're going to end it because I said 5 minutes and we're probably over that, but I know it's better than what I usually do, right? What are we at? Like 11 minutes? Oh,
how did you do that?
Because I talk and I can't stop.
It's so interesting to talk to you.
See?
I enjoy it.
Because I include you in the conversation. I don't sit here and like, you know, flex and do things. I mean,
no,
I'm not that kind of guy.
No, you're not.
And you're not either. And that's why we get along.
Yeah.
But the last thing I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, my favorite thing, and I'm going to stop at like 12 minutes, is that this is the road to success right here, one way or the other, right? And basically it's a choice, which path is I'm choosing. And all life is a choice. And I'm going to tell you something that you may not want to hear, and Miss Lubas and I know this. The hardest choices are the best choices. And when you look back at your life, the best choices you ever made are going to be the hardest ones. And I'm going to tell you right now, from the bottom of my heart, that meeting people is hard. It's hard to meet people. You put yourself in really scary situations, but it's valuable.
For sure.
Because if we didn't go out of our way to know each other and care about each other and joke around, we used to joke around a lot. Humor was really important with us, especially when we failed. And we did. A lot.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I still do. Like, I'm going over 12 minutes. I mean, I've already failed in that way. But here's the deal. We took the time to know each other. And there's so many people right now out there that screen that we're looking at right now. Is that real?
I know.
Is it real though?
No.
No, that's us being real on a screen,
Exactly.
but when people see it, they can't feel our energy. They can't see that we really enjoy sitting here and that you want to hear me talk about Fortnite for all things. And you guys are acting.
I am kind of curious after you presented that second
Do you see persuasion, ladies and gentlemen? Let people know. And I want to know more about your genealogy. So we can talk after that about your interest in jail, but we can't do that because I'm already over and I've already made promises that I can't keep, right?
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for another long video, but it's better. I'm getting better and I'm evolving, and so are we as a team. So please subscribe. What else did I say? Like, turn on your notifications and just join the crew. Let's turn 4 into 6 or 7.
And as you're doing all that, don't forget to make good choices.
And make good choices. And if Miss Lubas says that, if you say that, then that's gold right there. And us together, we're a good team, aren't we?
We are.
All right. Thank you so much. You're awesome. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Good. Oh, I got to show Mr. Soundman real quick. Oh, yeah.
Creepy.
You guys want to see creepy? You stayed in for this video for almost 14 minutes. Look at my hair. Like, I really care about that, huh? Oh, geez, I need a haircut. Anyways, creepy! Look at the creepers. Hello. Okay, you crazy kids. Thanks for paying attention. I'm sorry I go too long, and you could tell me I go too long, but you know what? I love you. Bye.